Greetings, family, and thank you for joining us for day 2 of Imagining America's 2021 National Gathering, The Shape of Us, Waterways and Movements. My name again is Frederick Delahousie. I'm affectionately known as Wood, and it is my immense pleasure to serve on the National Advisory Board for Imagining America, as well as the Chief Creative Officer of the Ashe Cultural Arts Center, a nonprofit organization that creates and supports the activities and creative works emphasizing the contributions of folks of African descent located in New Orleans, Louisiana, also known as Bobancha, a Choctaw term meaning place of many tongues, which was originally inhabited by the Chitimacha Nation and prior to 1718 served as an important port and trading hub for more than 40 diverse indigenous peoples. I can be referred to in conversation by Wood or by pronoun he and him, and I am a light-skinned, honey butter brown Black person with brown eyes and thick eyebrows. What some folks might call a goatee, I call a pharaoh's mane, and it is my honor today to introduce our opening plenary this morning, Tributaries. Before we get started, a few logistical items. This session offers closed captioning. To access closed captioning, please click on the CC button found at the bottom of your Zoom window. You will have opportunities throughout the session to meet and interact with our presenters and our other participants. And to begin, we invite you to use the chat to introduce yourself. We also anticipate having some time to answer a few questions. So should you have any questions for our speakers, please place them in the chat. Finally, we invite you to engage with us on social media. So our event's hashtag is #IAGathering2021. And this particular presentation is brought to you by New Orleans Center for the Gulf South and Another Gulf is Possible. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our presenters, right? This first powerhouse that I'll talk about is Jayeesha Dutta. She's an artist, cultural organizer, and daughter of Bangladeshi immigrants. She's a co-founding member of Another Gulf is Possible collaborative and consults on healing justice programming and facilitation with the Wincall Institute. She also serves on the boards for Alternate Roots, Climate Justice Alliance, and Eyewitness for Palestine, as well as South Asian Americans Leading Together. Please welcome Jayeesha. Our next presenter is a visceral force of music and healing. Michaela Harrison is an international vocalist and healer whose career is rooted in relaying and elevating transformational power of music through song and supporting others in accessing the fountain of healing energy available in nature through ritual and creative practices. Michaela has facilitated and participated in numerous workshops and retreats and is currently engaged in the Whale Whispering Project, a musical collaboration on water, healing, and ancestry with humpback whales based in Bahia. Y'all gonna love this. Family, please join me in welcome Jayeesha and Michaela.
It shine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, 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 let it shine. God's gonna try. They come a long way. Greetings, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can see and hear us right now.
Welcome. Welcome to Well Whispering. We are going to go ahead. I'm Michaela, by the way. It's Jayeesha. And before we get into our conversation, I want to begin with just a little water blessing. And so I invite everyone to take a minute to get a glass or a bowl of water to participate in the water blessing. It will be very simple and give you about a minute to do that. And as you're doing that, I'm gonna let you listen to a little bit of what was recorded on my most recent trip to Brazil, of myself singing with the whales. This is recorded underwater in Bahia, Brazil. Okay, so this project has so much to do with our relationship with water, as sharing the planet. I wanted to begin by sharing a song that really came to me directly from the whales, to bless water, the waters outside of our bodies, the waters inside of our bodies. And the water that we drink is an excellent way to bless both the waters without and the waters within. So I'm going to share this song. It's very simple. You'll hear it again later in one of the videos that will show us. You have a few opportunities to get it stuck in your brain and keep using it if you feel so inclined to bless the waters you interact with from day to day. It's very simple, just one word, omio, which is a phrase in Yoruba, which is giving praise to water, exalting water. Omi is water, and O is like hail, hail water, bless water. So I'll sing the melody through a few times, and just as you feel it, as you pick it up, join in and sing to your water. Send the healing, loving vibrations to your water. Send gratitude to your water as you prepare to bring it into your body to meet the waters in your body. Omia, 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 omia. Omia, 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 omia. Omia, 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 Thank you. We give thanks for water. Give thanks for this fresh water to drink. We give thanks for this beautiful Mississippi River that is our backdrop. We give thanks for all the waters in the seas. We give thanks for the water in the clouds. We give thanks for the water in our bodies. Oh mio, oh mio, oh mio. Feel free to take a drink.
How you feeling, Michaela?
I'm great. How
Awesome.
you feeling?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we're gonna, I believe, watch another little piece right now. Do you want to give us any context about kind of the scene people are about to see in Bahia? I believe that's what they're about to witness. We're bringing in the ancestors' energy and where this project came from. People got a little taste from the beginning, This Little Light of Mine, which is one of my favorite songs, and what was happening there, and then what folks are kind of this beginning part of our exciting time together today.
Yes. So this is, kind of the roots of where this work comes from, how it began for me. It's ancestral work. It's an ancestral assignment. And I'll talk a little bit more after the video.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
I invite you to close your eyes. And just taking this on. And breathe. I really wanted to come out here because this place has such a special history. This history deserves to be preserved, and this space deserves to be loved upon.
This libation is simply to give thanks and praise to the Most High Creator of us all, known by many, many names. So we give thanks to all those who've gone before us, who made this way possible.
We're going to just take a few minutes to listen. Everything that you're going to hear is what I recorded on my most recent trip to Brazil.
A big part of it was about connecting to and bringing forth the memory, the ancestral memory that the whales carry in their DNA of the witnessing of the Middle Passage. And having accompanied those ships coming across the Atlantic. And what the ancestors told me was that there was an exchange, a musical exchange that happened between the whales and the people on the ship. So the people on the ship heard the whales singing, and it brought comfort to them when they were in the hold. And the whales heard the people singing and wailing and crying from the ship, and they held those sounds. They brought those sounds into their songs, and they carry that memory inside of their songs.
O mio. And that's a Yoruba phrase. Omi is water, and O as a suffix adds praise, adds respect, adds honor, exaltation. So it's basically praising water, lifting up water, giving thanks for water, saluting water.
This place has been special for me my entire growing up, but as I remember too, coming out here in the big swimming pools. And that was the only place that we can go swim, if you really wanted to go swimming in a pool. And I guess, I remember last time I must have been 6 or 7 coming out here to go swim, but we'd come out and some of the special memories are coming out here with my family, and obviously I don't remember the ride so much, but the swimming was always special.
This is heaven on earth for all people. The way we live with each other, I'm good, you good, we good, the land good, the water good, we good. We did this thing. We have sacrifices here on our bodies, in our finances, in our homes. We make sacrifices. You all may not know, but I know if you ever sacrifice anything for your community, you do know what sacrifice is. I did not give my life for my people. Many people gave their life for this place right here, and it's been held back. It's been held back. And we just want people to open the doors and allow our community to walk down that path, touch that water. Simple, like Mahatma Gandhi wanted salt out there. Like Martin Luther King just wanted to vote. You see, this is all we want. We'll figure it out from there.
Wow, I didn't get to go on Monday, but I feel like I got a little bit of a sense of what was going on. What did we just watch? What was happening there? Where's Lincoln Beach?
Well, that obviously was not Brazil.
No, that was not Brazil. By the way, sorry. Still to come.
Later. So that was Lincoln Beach here in New Orleans East. And I really wanted to do something at Lincoln Beach in particular and have that gathering be a part of this presentation today, because that's part of the Whale Whispering assignment, is to, and really when I say the assignment, this is guidance from the ancestors and from the whales directly. This is a relationship, a spirit familiar relationship, and I am definitely listening to and learning from and being guided by them in this work. So that song, O Mio, I received it as a direct download from them, like, sing this and share this with people to sing to water. Another part of the assignment was to bring people together to sing at the waters, to the waters, with whale song playing, to help bring the songs of the whales above the surface of the water and into spaces where we gather together for healing of ourselves, of the waters, of the environment. And so the Lincoln Beach gathering was a part of that, and Lincoln Beach specifically because, it has this history of being both a haven and an example of really the hatred that was at the core, has been at the core of segregation and so much of the story of race in the United States. And in its heyday, it was a very well-loved hub for Black folks in New Orleans during segregation. There was an amusement park there. There was a huge swimming pool, and lots of musical acts came to perform there. Sam Cooke, among other people.
I've seen that poster.
And the beach, as you can see, is incredibly beautiful. And since it closed in 1964, it's been, in steady decline and disrepair. And Sage Michael, who's one of the people you see in the video and hear speaking, has been at the forefront of the movement of local folks who are reclaiming the beach, who've been cleaning it up and working to make it accessible to the community without harm to themselves, because it's not easy to get over there. And so I wanted to center that work as an example of how these tributaries function. This project is a creative project, but it's more about the process of sharing than it is about, I think, eventual outcomes. Is what I've learned. And this gathering of community together to heal with water and supported by the whale songs is encapsulated in this video.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And Lincoln Beach, I feel like speaks to so many places around the world, which are places that were sacred that have been taken away, and places that are also, it's a beautiful beach, but the water, Lake Pontchartrain also, you hear from people back in the day, used to be clean, lots of fish and swimming, and you can't do that either in those waters right now. So I feel like it speaks to so much, that place in particular. So wondering to move from Lincoln Beach to Brazil, and how you shifted, and how did you end up in Brazil to sing with the whales? What's that story?
So it's all one story, really. I've always been a spirit person. I've always been a water person. I've always been an animal whisperer. I was called to Brazil many years ago from the ocean, really. And that's a longer story. The short version of it is that I ended up going for the first time almost 28 years ago, and became involved in candomblé, and eventually initiated to Iemanjá, Mafere for Iemanjá, who is the Orisha in the candomblé tradition, which is a branch of the Yoruba tradition, who is the mother of the waters and the mother whose children are the fish. And so the first time I arrived in Bahia was on February 2nd, which is the day of the Festa de Iemanjá. And it's a celebration for Iemanjá. It's a celebration of the sea, and everyone takes offerings to the ocean on that day. And it made such an impression on me, such a beautiful gathering. And I have emblazoned in my mind this image of just thousands and thousands of flowers floating on the surface of the sea. And this is part of what I bring to the gatherings for whale whispering, to bring the whale songs to the people, the healing whale songs, and to share an extension of this tradition that has brought so many blessings to me, and say we don't all have to come from the same background. We don't all have to come from the same tradition in order to come together and honor and respect the waters and nature and feel this union between us. The water is a unifying force between us. And that is rooted in my experiences in Brazil, in Bahia in particular. And I began singing at a place called Projeto Tamar, which is in Praia do Forte, Brazil. This picture that you're seeing now is the offering to Iemanjá and Oxum in Praia do Forte, which is a small fishing village with beautiful beaches, and also a population of whales that comes annually to mate and give birth. And it was there that I first connected with the whales on a whale watching tour. When I saw the whales, I just started singing to them wade in the water.
Mm.
And they came over to the boat and interacted so beautifully and danced and just made such a profound connection that I knew that something needed to evolve from that. And I started the project about a year and a half after that. No, I guess a year after that. And it's been continuously evolving since then. The Humpback Whale Institute, Projeto Baleia Jubarte, is based in Praia do Forte. And those folks came to me after a performance one day and was like, we heard you want to sing with the whales. And it started from there. And it's been evolving and expanding ever since.
It's amazing. And how often have you been going? How often have you been spending time with the whales? You recently, I know, had a really miraculous experience, it sounds like to me. Can you share a little bit about kind of what it's been like to be on the water with them and singing, really collaborating with them?
Yes. So I started the project in 2018. And when I started it, I really thought it was just a creative project. I was going to create these songs with the whales, you know, inspired by the whale songs, talking about our relationship to water and, you know, addressing this connection with the Middle Passage, songs for healing. And I wanted to have a documentary film project to show the work. And as I got deeper into the work and developed a relationship with the whales, I began to understand better why they had chosen me for this assignment. And that it wasn't simply about creating a product to share, but about sharing this relationship and representing for this oneness of all being, which is at the core of what they want to communicate. They want very much to communicate with us, to show themselves to be in relationship with us. And you see it anytime you go out on the water, they come over to the boat. They're very, you know, when they're in the mood, they're very expressive, very communicative. And at the core of what I've understood that they want to share with human beings is that we are one. We are not separate from each other. And their voices are representing the voices of the entire animal population at this point in calling out to humanity to shift the way we are handling this planet and its resources. And so the message that basically, you know, we all live in the same house is at the core of what they're giving me in these songs that I'm bringing forth through the project.
It's beautiful. I think there's another clip we'll watch and we'll come back to this We Are One theme that we have for today. Can we watch the Survivors song video? The Puro, who's our awesome tech support today with Imagining America.
And this, as we get ready for that, the Survivor song clip, I will say that when I speak about connecting with the ancestors, I have a very direct experience of that, particularly when I'm on the water, in the ocean, in the presence of the whales. I can hear the voices of the ancestors. I can hear the sounds of the ancestors. And one of my quests has been to, through listening to the whale songs, through this connection with the whales and tapping into their ancestral memory, bring forth the healing essence of the songs that those Africans sang to get themselves across those waters in the Middle Passage. And that is inside the memory that the whales carry. So this song, this clip, is one of the songs that came when I was in the middle of the ocean on the ship, really feeling myself between dimensions and time zones, really feeling that presence, feeling myself inside that experience of a slaving vessel. and asking the question, how did you make this journey? How did you survive this? And this song is what came through as a response. As long as we keep on breathing and sing our way across this sea, as long as we know enough, we are the power, we will be free. As long as we keep on breathing and sing our way across this sea, as long as we know in our hearts we are the power, we will be free. As long as we know we are the power, as long as we know we are the power, we will be free. Yes, we will be free. As long as we know we are the power, as long as we know we are the power, we will be free. Yes, we will be free. Keep breathing, keep singing, keep breathing, keep singing, keep breathing, keep singing. We know, 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 we're free.
But everyone just take a breath. That was really powerful. How are you feeling? What is it like to speak to this deep and profound work that you're being called to? Like how are you right now? It's so much. I'm like, wow, Michaela, how are you doing this?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm tired. In a good way. Like tired for good reasons, I should say, you know. Because it's many levels and layers of work. the spiritual level being central. And it's this translation work, you know, that is on the one hand easy because I'm a very fluid person, and on the other hand challenging because I know there's only so much of what I experience that I can actually relay, you know, in expressed form. And I want to be able to take everyone to the whales, you know, and particularly Black people and Black women and trans and non-binary folks, and those of us who have wombs or have had wombs, as this is also about personal healing for me. And it's all connected. This question about healing the waters and looking at the conditions of the waters, which is what the whales are asking us to do, and looking at the condition of the environment and what we have to do, the changes we have to make with regard to climate change. All of this is directly related to this history of enslavement and colonization, and this, you know, this trauma, this sickness that stems from that trauma that we have yet to address, which is beginning, you know, just at the edges of that process, and looking at the sickness that manifests on a societal level, and then the sickness that affects our bodies personally, you know. And me as a Black woman, and the vast majority of Black women that I know have womb issues, you know, have fibroids or endometriosis, various illnesses that are centered in the uterus that I understand to be directly related to ancestral sexual trauma and this story of enslavement and capture and estrangement and so much violence, so many generations of violence that we learned to hold because we didn't have healthy ways to express, and, you know, is now in our DNA to hold these emotions and the trauma that we experience. And so this project is about that as well. And the whales sort of offer this soundtrack of support for this healing process, you know. So I'm very much inside of my own healing process, and I am finding comfort and inspiration and just ever deepening levels of connection to the source through this work, and these amazing beings who are so generous and so compassionate and so graceful with the recalcitrant children who are the humans of planet Earth, you know. And I feel incredibly privileged to be doing what I'm doing, and I feel a tremendous responsibility to get it right. And at the core of getting it right is unlearning so much of the self-destruction and you know, sort of absorption of environmental and societal harm that has, you know, put me in a position of needing this healing, you know. And I know so many of us have the same story, so sharing it and calling folks together in community. And I also want to say I'm very clear that I'm not doing anything new. You know, none of this is new. We have been doing this forever. Indigenous people around the world have been gathering together at the waters to sing, to heal, to bless, have been in relationship with animals, have had interspecies communication. This is nothing new. I am just following a calling that I received to do it in this context of this moment that we're in now, where this need for acknowledging and honoring the ancestors who went through this experience and healing the waters and healing the environment and coming together to shift the course that this planet is on. It's all one thing, and we have to heal our personal selves in order to do that work. You know, if we're working to combat climate change and we're not doing the personal healing work, we're not doing the work.
We're not doing it. I feel that. I feel that a lot in terms of this. It's like the individual to the collective, right? And there has to be that reciprocity. And if we're not caring for ourselves, we're not caring for the collective. And I think as an organizer and sometimes, well, not sometimes, right now I'm trying to not be an organizer anymore because I think that it's a constant external force that you're not recognizing, that the movement has really made it that we're always looking outside and not inside. And I'm hoping we're seeing that shift. A lot of folks are starting to talk about healing. And we had been talking about this conversation as mermaid to mermaid, right? Like we are in, the two of us at least, in a lot of communication with the water and the creatures of the water. And in that translation, right? That translation that feels like I'm trying to translate. I personally feel that sometimes of like what the water is telling me and what people aren't listening, right? And like I hear that you're saying that too. The whales are giving you a message that you are now feeling is your duty to share with us all. Tell me more about that message, listening to them, listening deeply to them. And I want everyone else to hear the story of where you just went right before you came here, and how there's the elder, there's a whole story that you shared with me that I really wanted to get shared here. So
so I feel, it's altering. And in sharing the whale songs and bringing forth the whale songs and creating these songs to be combined with whale songs, I am altered in listening to them. And so I didn't really understand why at first, but now I know it's medicine, in the same way that my intention for my music is for it to be healing, their songs are healing, and it is altering. It shifts something when you hear them. It shifts something. And so as much as I can be a part of circulating the sound around the globe above the surface of the water, as I was directed to, I am here for it because I get to witness every time people hear it, how something is shifted in them and something is, so I was in between a place called Caravelas, which is in the south of Bahia, and a place called Abrolhos, which is archipelago off the coast of southern Bahia. And this is a place where everyone had told me since I started the project, oh, you have to go, you have to go. So they gather there en masse, and the waters are shallower, so you can really hear them well. And I had an experience of some whales coming over to the boat. And I now have equipment that has allowed me to do what I was intending to do when I started the project, but they put me on whale time. So the things that I thought I was going to do when I started this in 2018 have just begun, many of them, and so much of this has been about, like, as slow of a person as I am, it has been about slowing down even more and like sinking into their vibration and their pace and breathing even more deeply and fully and slowly. And I invite everyone who's listening and watching to take this opportunity to check your breath, check in with your breath. And however you're breathing, breathe more deeply, because that's definitely a part of what they have to share with us as well. And I now have this equipment thanks to a grant from V-Day and a gift from wonderful artist Michael Rakowitz to be able to listen to the whales via hydrophone and project my voice under the sea through an aquatic speaker and then record it. And so there were some whales who had come over to the boat, a mama and baby, and they were sort of circling around the boat, and I was interacting with them vocally through the mic and the speaker. And, you know, we exchanged for a while, and it's just like playing with musicians. Like when you're playing a song together, it's jazz, you know, you feel when it's time for it to end. And it was like that. Like we got to the end of the exchange and I heard them leaving. I couldn't see them. I was inside the cabin because there was a lot of ambient noise. And so, you know, the moment ended and I heard their voices become more distant. I could tell that they were swimming away. And so I shut down the equipment. I took out the earphones, and then a few minutes later, the captain came in and said, "They're coming back. They're coming back." And so I put the earphones back in, and I heard a different voice than what I had heard the first time, and it was this gigantic, this whoa, this booming, like gigantic voice, and this presence that was right underneath the boat and right by the speaker. And I understood. I heard the voices that I'd heard before, the mama and baby. And it felt like a very masculine presence and a very elderly presence. And I understood that they had gone and gotten the venerated elder to speak to me. You know, they were like, "Wait, hold up." Hold up, you know. And so this whale came over, and then I had this exchange with the two of us, and it was life-changing. And somewhere in there, as we're exchanging, I could hear this whale very clearly expressing that phrase, "We are one." There's a 3-note phrase that I've heard repeated over and over again. Their songs stay the same year to year, except for one phrase generally. So it takes about 7 years for the whole song to change completely. So this particular phrase I've heard since I began the project. It's a 3-note phrase. And I've heard that, "We are one," you know, when I sat and listened to it. But this whale was articulating that very clearly. And it was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing. And I'm excited that, you know, now I have the ability to record my interaction with the whales, and in the process of, you know, editing and mixing some of that to be able to share and, you know, learning. This is all very much a work in progress, and it's a blessing to be able to share it as a work in progress. I think I haven't experienced enough of works in progress. I now realize as I'm doing this and kind of showing things that are very rough and that are very like incomplete, because it is about sharing the process and the journey, you know, and not just the finished, polished product. I feel like there's so much focus on what's polished and edited and complete that gets presented these days, you know, and this is very much about a process of learning and, you know, messing up and having bad sound and like all of the different variables and dynamics, sharing that to show like this journey of exchange and exploration and deepening connection, you know, which is all of it leading back to the oneness, to the source, you know. At the end of the day, there is no separation between us. You know, we have to deal with the issues that are present in our interactions in our day-to-day lives. But I think the key is like being able to see the forest and the trees simultaneously, you know, and understand that we are present as one, and we also have our individual lives and concerns and issues. And
yeah, it's been such a blessing to be part of the journey with you. And just from when you first was, you know, I first heard you, there was like, I'm gonna go talk, you know, sing with the whales when you were first lead, and just watching this process and letting us be part of it has also right. It's like we are now part of this journey. We are in conversation with the whales through you as the translator. So thank you for not closing it off and waiting till you, because I know the product's gonna be dope. But, you know, not waiting until the end to let us in from the beginning is a real gift you're giving both the whales and us as humans. So thank you for that. And also Imagining America it's like I think it's scholars and artists. And I feel like the work you're doing is it's the scholarship, right? You are studying with the whales, you are collaborating, you're creating art, but you're also learning, like this learning process that you're in. So I'm just curious and excited to see where and how that learning, as you're documenting it, actually there's a whole field of whale study which I've like started to learn about, and like I'm really excited to see where your learning intersects with the scholarly part of the whole whale research stuff, because you are working with a research institute. And so I think there's a real beauty in that piece as well. And we're going to watch a couple of more clips, I think, right now. Do you want to share anything about what we're about to see?
Yes, before the clips roll, I want to say that these are two examples of sort of the practical application of whale whispering in terms of bringing this healing specifically to Black women and addressing our healing needs, you know, and this ancestral connection and the water, and, you know, like getting us through. So many of us have fear of the water, and like coming to the water for the healing that we need, and using the whale songs to support us in vocalizing, in wailing, and expressing what has been trapped inside. So the first clip is just a brief clip of me calling the whales, which is something that I do each time I go out on the waters. And you can see there's a collective of some of my sisters in Brazil who are on the boat with me. And also Serjão, who's part of the team at Instituto Baleia Jubarte, the Humpback Whale Institute, who's been very supportive of this work. And the second clip is of some sisters of mine, also amazing women. Like everyone you see in these videos is an incredible artist, activist, healer, who's doing amazing work. And like, that's my intention, the healing of the healers, the healing of us all, but in particular, those of us who are taking care of other folks and tend to neglect ourselves. So the second clip is the song that you heard before in the video, Survivor Song, being sung on a boat on the Hudson River in the Upper Bay in New York City. There's a point at which you'll see the Statue of Liberty behind us. And these amazing people are Erica Doyle, Ebony Noel Golden, Imani Yasmin, who's my little cousin, Laura Kelly Bankson, Regine Romain, who you don't see, but is the videographer, El Tony Lewis, and Karma, who was with Wind and Warrior last night for their beautiful, beautiful plenary. And those are my sisters as well. So you get to see a little bit of how this is manifesting on the water, because that's part of the mission too, is like, get on the water, get in the water. So these two clips will show you a little bit of what that is.
Beautiful. I think there's also maybe a few images that we wanted to look at here too.
Yes, but I want
Okay,
to talk a
about
little
that.
bit more
Okay.
about that first because it informs the next images.
Okay.
This is, we were talking about studying and learning. I want to bring in Alexis Pauline Gumbs. Big up Sister Dr. Alexis Pauline Gumbs, who has this amazing body of work, really.
Yeah.
Such a brilliant, brilliant being. One of which is called Undrowned, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Mammals. And I feel like if I would have written a textbook to accompany this work, it would be Undrowned.
Yeah.
Except that Alexis went and wrote it for me, so thank you, Alexis. She also was really supportive of the project when I was beginning and fundraising with the GoFundMe, trying to get down there for the first time and make it happen. She was posting these, the posts that would eventually become the book on social media and promoting my GoFundMe. We met the night before I was leaving to begin the project in 2018 at a party at Alexis DeVoe's house. So it was all divinely ordained. The whales brought us together, the ancestors brought us together. And so for those who aren't familiar with that work, I would say if this intrigues you and you feel drawn in by it, definitely take the step further and read Undrowned, because everything that's laid out in there is definitely resonant with what I'm experiencing with this work. And Adrienne Marie Brown, who is really one of the ways that I get to how this is applied in a communal context, in a collective context, because she found out about it and supported it, and then was like, hey, we're doing an emergent strategy training in New Orleans. Why don't you do a whale whispering sharing for us? And I was like, I don't know what that would look like, but okay, the answer is yes. That's the key with this work. It's like, the answer is yes. You just say yes and listen and then go with the flow. So you were present for, that first collective sharing of whale whispering, which really helped me understand that that was what this is really about, and how I can look at bringing it into community spaces and gathering folks at the water and bringing the whales in and having us use the vibration of our voices collectively to shift things.
Yes, yeah, it was so amazing. We were in a swimming pool. I don't know if everyone, I was in the water.
Yes.
And singing. And yeah, I think what was that, once you start singing with the whales, you just can't get them out of your body. That's kind of how I feel, at least. Yes. Like once you let us in that, like I can tap back into it. So again, thank you for the gift of sharing with us all, including whoever is listening right now or will be listening. So thank you. And so we are going to see a couple of images.
Yes. So, those are the sisters who were on the boat in Bahia from the first clip, Lua, Mada, and Jasi, and Alicia and Jasi. Mada is also, she's a designer. She designed that beautiful mermaid dress I had on in the Lincoln Beach clip. She does Black mermaids. And then the next picture is of sisters from a collective in Savannah, based in Savannah, organized by the Susie King Taylor Women's Ecological Center that is run by Hermina Glass Hill, who's on the end there to the right. And this is a collective of Black women in the region who have committed themselves to caring for the healing of the waterways and the environment in that region. And we did a whale whispering journey out over the waters as part of Whale Week last year, which is an event that happens each year sponsored by Oceana, calling attention to the near extinction of the North Atlantic right whale, and making the connection between, you know, this history of harm that is enslavement and colonization, as well as, you know, the hunting of whales to near extinction, and this capitalist system that sees so much traffic on the seas, and so much disregard for the life that's in the seas, that these whales are down to less than 400 in number. And you see everybody is holding Undrowned. We read excerpts from the book as we were on the boat out over the water, and then Hermina gifted everyone with a copy of the book. And there were several other women on the trip. You see the next picture is a shot that I took from on the boat, where we're actually interacting with some dolphins who came up to visit us. If you can show the next picture, Jose.
That might be all
Oh, okay. I thought there was another one. All right, well.
Awesome. Well, I knew Town was gonna go quick, and so I feel like we have definitely touched on this idea of healing as a centripetal force, and I'm wondering if you want to speak more to that. Mina, I see that you might be chatting to us because of our setup. Can't see the chat, but it looks like there might be a couple of questions. We want to take questions.
Yeah.
Mina, would you be able to just pick a question for us and read it, or someone, just because we can't see the chat from where we're sitting right now?
Sure. So there were some questions about ways for folks to learn more, Michaela, about your work. I can speak a little bit to public, but also for folks to, you know, access recordings of this work, kind of those next steps.
Thank you, Mina. So there is a page on my website, which is michaelaharrison.org, that is called Whale Whispering. And you can find all out about the project and keep up to date with it there. I have a blog, and I'm posting as I go along. The recordings are very recent. The audio recordings are very recent. As I said, they're being sort of mixed and edited and studied to figure out how to share them. So that's forthcoming. I'm beginning to share them in collective spaces right now, and understand how to work them into shareable recordings that people can, you know, access via download, etc. So that's coming. That's part of the process that I'm in. But michaelaharrison.org on the Whale Whispering page is where you can find out what you need to know about the project and stay in touch.
Are there any other questions, Mina, or is that the what folks are asking?
I think you've covered most of the other questions already. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, as we're wrapping up, we can talk a little bit about healing, and what does that healing look like maybe for folks who are listening, watching. How do we get back into balance? I know just for me, like even the simple act of the first, you know, this was the first intentional water I drank this morning, but just taking that moment for ceremony. Last night we heard from Wind and Warrior, just ceremony, right? Being in ceremony, honoring, being in intention. Those are some ways that I know I find helpful to try to be back in balance with our waters, with our planet. Do you have anything you want to share with folks as we close up?
Yes, I will probably be repeating a lot of what my sisters from Wind and Warrior said, and I was blessed to be a part of the Sacred Waters pilgrimage with them virtually. But it's time for us to come together at the waters, with the waters. And as you said, you know, the individual blessing of the water, just tuning into, so this is magic. This is power. This is life. It is not a lightweight thing. Like, it gets taken for granted so much because it's everywhere. But it's like we have the magic right under our noses, right in our hands. We have this magic, we have this power. So part of it is just really tuning in to what this is, and the fact that it is what moves all life. And so when we ally ourselves with water, we become much more powerful. And when we're talking about work around climate change and environment, becoming allied with water, with the elements, with the environment, has to be at the foundation of that. And so just every time you interact with water in a day, bless it, give thanks for it. You know, you're also doing it in your body, you know, because you are water as well. So that's a very basic way. And then gathering in community, as I said, at the water, singing to the water, blessing the water, making offerings, healing the waters, the organizing, signing the petitions, supporting work like the work that Sage Michael and his crew are doing out at Lincoln Beach, Sageville on Instagram, by the way, if you want to follow and support that work. Tuning into what is happening with the waters in your community. I mean, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir for whoever's watching and participating in this conference, but on a real basic level, this holding water as a living force that responds to what you bring to it. And so I would, is there time for me to share
This is
a
our
song?
closing moment.
Okay, so I will share just briefly another one of the songs that has come through for this work. And I'll just run through it one time. It's pretty self-explanatory. Salute water, respect water, give thanks for water, protect water, salute water, respect water, give thanks for water, protect water, be conscious of water, yield like water, rise like water, be healed by water, sing to water, oh me, oh water, shine like water, be free like water, conserve water, share water, champion water, take care of water, take care of water, take care of water, take care of water. Oh, me, oh.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Goodness gracious, how soul stirring, how nourishing, how fulfilling was that conversation. Thank you so much, Joyce and Michaela, for your healing energies, your transformational powers of song. I'm just sitting here transfixed. And you know, Michaela and I often joke about the power that I feel that she possesses, but it's you know, they say there's truth in all jokes. So let me say with full clarity that Michaela, the work is phenomenal, and we so appreciate you sharing with us today. Thank you so much to both of you and to all our participants for joining us, and to friends at the New Orleans Center for the Gulf South and Another Gulf is Possible for providing that phenomenal conversation for us. We'll be taking a short break before our next session. Please see the link that's being dropped in the chat for details on how to join this and all the other upcoming sessions. We'll be back in a few with Imagining America Member Roundtable. advocacy, assessment, accessibility, the effective work of graduate engaged scholarship. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And it has been a joy as always, and we'll see you for another part of Waterways.